All right, so I wanted to make a really quick video on one, the importance of commitment, and then two, the importance of continually exposing yourself to reality outside of your field of expertise so that you can better understand and better contribute, also integrate the very things that contributed to that structure that you exist within. Because like it's living on a foundation, right? And it cannot exist in and of itself. There's more fundamental things that have contributed to that. So the first thing is the commitment thing. The more you commit yourself to something, what I've noticed, especially like having been in the field of medicine, for the better part of a decade now, the field of medicine is incredible at giving you patterns within reality that just, for lack of a better term, just work. So if you exist within medicine, there's protocol, and there's variability within that protocol. So there's room for style. There's room for different approaches, right? Like, hey, if this happens, you do this. But generally speaking, right, if somebody comes into the ER and they have like super high blood pressure or they have like a really high fever, you're not going to, for example, give them, I can't even think of a drug right now. Like, you're not gonna do like, this is gonna sound stupid, but you're not gonna do like a gastric bypass, right? Because it's like they're here for like they're here and they've presented with certain symptoms, and there's a certain like treatment approach that you give them, and hopefully things go really well. But if they don't, that's how doctors get sued, right? It's like they don't go well, but you broke protocol, and now you're in trouble, right? Because you knew what like the objective. You knew what the objective next step was, generally speaking, and you chose to break protocol, or you didn't know it, and you are now in a lot of trouble because it's obvious to everybody outside of your situation, right? Because you've dealt with a lot of stress as the doctor, that you should have done this thing, but you didn't, right? And like that's what I mean by like medicine gives you a framework into which to approach the real world, right? And like what I mean by like my second point in that, like, you need to continually expose yourself to reality is that in other modalities, like let's say you're in the field of medicine, right? Because I just use that as an example because I'm in it. Like the more you expose yourself to, let's say, like philosophy, literature, theology, I don't know if mathematics, but like mathematics, obviously, I just can't meaningfully talk about mathematics, which is, kind of like, I'm kind of arguing against myself a little bit on that one. Music, right? Etc. Go down the list of anything else that exists, like relationships, exercise, like whatever. What's true about like the field of medicine in that like it gives you a framework into which to see reality and approach it and just have this, it's not just a plan, but it's just like this is how somebody exists. And like if you do these things, this will happen. It's just gonna happen, unless for some reason the laws of physics break down, the laws of mathematics break down, the anything governing the laws of philosophy break down, like anything governing the foundation of like the field of medicine, like providing that structure to make it possible for like these kind of protocols to work. Unless for some reason that breaks down, which it would be like God would have to manipulate the laws of physics for like this to not work, because it's what works, right? That's why medicine works so well, is because it's pattern recognition and understanding. This is objective reality. This is how you approach it. This is what you do. That exists that exists obviously outside of the field of medicine, right? Like philosophy, theology, music, etc. The more you approach reality and you don't shy away from it, because often the reason people shy away from it, you don't shy away from it in the sense that it doesn't benefit you obviously in the short term, right? It helps you just as much as medicine does, or understanding medicine. It helps you live more in the real world, right? Because ignorance is fine. The ignorance is not like a bad thing. I think people kind of have like a bad taste for that, but the importance of, let's say, reading in like really good literature, or like listening to really good music, or reading really good theology, so like St. Thomas Aquinas, St. Augustine, you got Dostoevsky in literature, you got Tolstoy, you got William Faulkner, Jane Austen, these people, right, that have contributed so much to Western philosophy, Western theology, Western medicine. What exposing yourself to these people helps you do is it gives you reality. Like, it gives you like a realness, and you now have no way to escape it, right? So, and because of that, you can generalize it very well. And like, I'm talking in terms of benefit, but like, that's not really my point. I don't want people to kind of think that I'm saying like you should do this so that you can better like do this. That's not the point of a lot of these things. And I think you end up in like a really sad and like numb place when like all you do is live your life so that like, how can I get a better thing out of this thing, right? It's important to like have that just kind of as a component of the way you experience the field that you work within. But the problem with only living on that is that it's not going to always be obvious in the short term or even in the long term how reading, let's say, Flannery O'Connor contributes to you as a physician. Like, it's not obvious, right? Like, how is it possible that if I read A Good Man Is Hard to Find, I'm gonna somehow like be a better doctor? I'll be honest with you, I don't think you will be, and I don't think that's the point. And it's like, well, that's what I'm trying to be a good doctor. And it's just like, you're missing the point of what's more fundamental than even the question of like, how can I be better at this thing? Sometimes the question is like, how can I live more in reality? And it's like, well, it's kind of insulting sometimes because it suggests that you're not living within reality. And I think, again, people take it as an insult because they think of ignorance as like a bad thing. But ignorance is just like a state of just like not knowing a thing. And like, if you're an expert, like, again, within medicine, there's a ton you know about medicine, but there's almost nothing you know about anything else, right? And it's just like, that's how it is, right? You might know stuff about music because you're a musician, you know stuff about literature because you read a lot, so usually doctors are pretty well versed in like multiple things, right? But it's like, I'm really good at science and I'm really good at medicine. But the importance of A Good Man Is Hard to Find by Flannery O'Connor, or even like Jane Austen's like Emma, Pride and Prejudice, or St. Thomas Aquinas's Summa Theologiae, like the importance of these kind of things, and it's like, it's hard to get into them. And again, it's not a self-help thing. Like, it's not, that's missing the point of what it's for. Is that it's reality, like it's real, right? As much as 2 + 2 = 4, like, well, how does knowing 2 + 2 = 4 benefit me? It's not that it benefits you, right? But it is such a fundamental principle to everything you do in every aspect of your life, right? So like, medicine doesn't exist without 2 + 2 = 4. Airplanes don't exist, cars don't exist, computers don't exist, nothing exists. Like, nothing works unless like the laws of mathematics are real. And like, what benefit do you get from understanding the laws of mathematics? Again, it's the wrong mentality, because there's no real obvious benefit that you get from understanding 2 + 2 = 4. But it's understanding that it's real, right? And it's like, it's as real or even more real than the relationships that you have in your life. Like, those relationships can't exist without the fundamental objective truth of like mathematical principles, theological principles, philosophical principles, certain principles that are revealed within literature. And like, you don't get a benefit from it, but you live again in reality, right? It's like, it's almost like asking the question, like, let's say you have a friend, or you have a family member, you have like a romantic partner, and you're just like, what's the benefit of having like this relationship with this person? And it's like, it's a decent question to ask, right? But one, you're already friends with them, right? So it's like, it's kind of a stupid question to ask, because like, you're already existing within the relationship with them. Even if it's a good or bad one, doesn't make a difference, but you have a relationship with this person, and they're real. Like, they're not going to go anywhere. Even if they die, they existed at some point. So it's like, they are a part of reality. And it's important to always expose yourself to reality, because one of the instincts I think humans have is to turn away from the things that are boring to them, uncomfortable, trivial to them. It's just disinteresting. It's just whatever you want to use. Anything that's not a positive emotion, one of our instincts is just be like, is to just say, it's not worth my time, because what am I going to get out of this? Like, I have a short amount of time this week, today, on this planet. Like, I'm not going to waste my time with these things, because I have better things that I could be doing, so that I can build up the field of medicine, I can build up my career, I can build up, my relationship with this person. But it's again missing it, because it's not that like you have the option to opt in or opt out of this objective reality. You exist within its framework, just like you do within the field of medicine. Like you don't have to give a crap that like 2 + 2 = 4, but your whole life works on that principle, right? And for you to better understand that allows you to exist more in that reality. But the further you get, the less you know about what is fundamental to you as an individual, whether that's patterns of psychology, patterns of theology, patterns of philosophy, patterns of mathematics, the less you expose yourself to these great novelists, great musicians, even great doctors, right, that have contributed to the field of medicine, the more you live in, the more you're at risk at living at odds with like reality. The less you can contribute to it, and the less you can contribute to that foundation and change something within it. Like be a visionary, be somebody that can recognize a pattern and then know what to do, and then understand the effect, and then build on that, right? Because like that, again, that's what I was saying earlier about the field of medicine. It's so good at just giving you a protocol, and then there's variability within it. But as soon as you start to break protocol, and it just like you do, again, this is gonna be a stupid example, like you remove somebody's appendix to cure like their elbow pain. It's like, it's such a stupid example because like, why would you do that? But it's like, but a lot of people don't realize that they always live on that line of just like not realizing when they not when they opted, but when they are at odds with like fundamental patterns of reality. And like I do it all the time because I'm ignorant of a ton of things outside of the field of medicine, even within like these things that like I sometimes like choose to dabble in. But it's important to constantly be in reality, in that you expose yourself within literature, you expose yourself within music, expose yourself within relationships, like even exercise, even like just like, yeah, there's a lot of like reality within this world, you know, that we're just not aware of or exposed to because we don't have time for it. There's no benefit to it. Like, how is it going to immediately contribute? And it's like, yeah, it's very American. It's a very materialistic way of thinking of just like, how am I going to get something out of this? And like, that's not the point of reality. It's not for you to get something out of it. It's for you to participate in it. It's for you to integrate into it. It's for you to contribute your reality to it, you know. And it's not something you can manipulate. It's not something you can exist outside of. It's just what is. And the more you can do that, the better you can build up that structure. You can build up something like the field of medicine, right, where it's like essentially like 1500 years ago, it's like it didn't exist at all like the way it did now. You know, it took a lot of philosophy, a lot of theology, a lot of cultures of people to be able to like construct an enterprise like the field of medicine, construct an enterprise like the scientific field, like any scientific field, whether it's like biology, immunology, chemistry. Like it took a lot, right? And like